See, normally I'd give you the regulatory intro with my government name, all that good stuff, but nah, it's straight Petty P today because we just beat the Raiders. So you know exactly what that means. I gotta go in a little bit, especially to these cats that have been hitting me up from Raider Nation with all this we almost came back crap. Look, what's the saying? How's it go? Almost only counts when it comes to horseshoes and hand grenades. So I ain't trying to hear any of that. Especially since y'all didn't let us get our almost off when Herbert went nuclear and almost came back on y'all last year for a bid to the playoffs. So miss me with that. But today, outside of just sticking it to the Raiders, of course, because naturally, I want to talk a little bit about what I witnessed from the game, the bad, the good, and some things the Chargers can look to improve on moving forward. Short week. Got the Chiefs on Thursday. I'll be there at Arrowhead. Should be a good time. And before we move too far along into that, let's recap some of what took place on Sunday in that 24-19 dub. Look, let's just start with the bad because might as well just knock it out and get it out of the way. I want to kick this off talking about the offensive line. You know, I've been seeing some statistics, grades from various outlets. I mean, sort of kind of championing the offensive line. I feel a tad bit differently about that. Let's put some stuff into context here. There were more than 6 pressures on Justin Herbert on Sunday. I don't care what any of them tell you. I counted at least 10, and that was just off the first watch, so it was live. And I'm sitting here marking down my notes. Trey Pipkins had at least 4. Seeing where he had 2. I mean, I don't know what constitutes a pressure in some people's mind, but to me, anytime a quarterback is affected and has to move off of his spot and avoid getting sacked to make a throw or run out of the pocket, I would consider that a pressure. But hey, I guess I'll just keep believing my lying eyes, but y'all feel free to do whatever you want. But as a whole, offensive line was kind of leaky. Rashawn Slater didn't have a pristine day. He had a few pressures as well. And even there was some interior pressure issues, which was really weird because the Raiders don't have a fantastic defensive front, but they were getting some penetration, even against the run. And that's another one of the things that didn't go so well. I'll get to that shortly. But again, let's talk about Trey Pipkins because he's kind of like, the man with the spotlight on him all season long. Look, he was serviceable, which is pretty much what we've asked for. Well, me specifically. So I wasn't looking for him to have like some sort of breakout performance. But, I mean, he did fine. I mean, wasn't great, wasn't horrible. And when you look at the stat sheet and you see that Justin Herbert didn't get sacked at all, it looks good. But in reality, he was pulling off all kind of Harry Houdini crap to keep himself clean. I mean, so there's much to improve upon. And ultimately, if we want to be honest, the guys could probably have used a few snaps in the preseason. Wouldn't have hurt. They just seem pretty rusty. So I don't expect this to be the offensive line's MO moving forward. They just have to get some more live game speed snaps under their belt. But that kind of takes me over to the running game, which was essentially a non-factor with the exception of closing the game out, which is great because you want to be able to lean on your running game there to saw the game away. But 2.5 yards per carry with a revamped offensive line, particularly on the right side when you got Zion over there, who played very well, for his first game out. There just wasn't any real room to run consistently throughout the game. And I mean up and down the offensive line, from Slater all the way over to Pipkins. And the weird thing about Pipkins is like, that's kind of his bread and butter right now. He's a better run blocker than he has a pass protector. And one of the things that I'm noticing about Trey is he doesn't have a lot of punch, in pass protection. I mean, as a road grader in the run game, I still think he's very high. But even as, like I said, as a pass protector, it doesn't seem like he's a puncher. He's more of a catcher. So he absorbs contact and he tries to anchor down. And I mean, thank God he's pretty athletic. Otherwise, he pretty much beat Storm Norton in that regard. But again, more time, more snaps, it'll get better. But I definitely want to see the run game improve. It's not like they didn't try to run the ball initially. I mean, they kind of gave me what I asked for. One of my keys to the game was establishing the run. I was hoping that they were going to be able to go out there and bully the Raiders because, like I said before, their front isn't great. I mean, hell, for that matter, neither is their secondary. But we'll get to that again in a little bit. Outside of that, moving on to the wide receivers. Now, this is a really tricky game because the wide receiver play was pretty uneven. You had the big plays, which kind of got mixed in with the situations where they couldn't create a lot of separation. There was a ton of that, by the way, especially after Slay went out. But, you know what I mean, you got your $20 million man, Mr. Mike Will, who had, was it 2 receptions for 10 yards? That can't happen, especially when your number one guy, your true number one dude, goes out, which was Slay early in the second quarter. The dude that you're paying $20 million to is supposed to be able to step up and make a difference, but he was virtually, again, like the running game for the most part, non-existent, which isn't very encouraging. I'm not really sure what was going on. I haven't rewatched it yet, but I can only imagine it's the same thing that's plagued him since he's gotten into the league, which is creating separation. It's not what he does really well. He's a big body dude. He's heavy footed. He doesn't get in and out of breaks very quickly. And he's still catching with his body, which I can't quite figure out because as a former wide receiver myself, you guys know how that's my pet peeve. I'm not trying to hear a bullet from Herbert putting a hole through your chest plate. Get your hands out there, man. I mean, the ball that I'm thinking of may have actually been intended for Keenan. I'm not 100% sure, but here's the thing. If you're going to reach up to grab it, don't try to cradle it. Get your freaking hands up. You know, create the web, open your hands up, and try to get the tip of the ball right there in between that diamond. Do your best to do that. I mean, it's not the easiest thing in the world, but you want to at least focus on it. And actually, you want to try to catch the ball with your fingertips, not necessarily the palms of your hands. Like, you want to use that hole right there for the tip of the ball to get there through it, and then you want to grip it with your fingertips. It's just kind of receiver 101 stuff. I would think Mike Williams would have that down by now. He's not the only one that's guilty of it, but more often than not, that's what I see from him. He's a big dude, big hands, should be able to catch the ball with those mitts. But whatever. When we see Slay go down with the hammy injury, he started to get to cooking before he went down, and yeah, it hurt. Not right away though, because the offense found its way around it. We haven't gotten to that point yet, but just want to kind of give them kudos for that right now. And he's definitely, I mean, from what we're seeing, our reports are indicating that he's going to be out for Thursday night, and I'm not surprised. It's a soft tissue injury. Hammies are tricky. You can really only get better with rest and rehab with those. There's really no working through it. It's like getting sniper rifled in the back of your leg. It's a terrible feeling, and you can't do much with it in regards to running. It's not the type of injury you want to have as a skill player because it practically, I mean, forget just limiting you. Overall, you can't run. So, you know, pretty much useless. But transitioning from the wide receivers over to my next gripe. Look, man, Joe Lombardi, it's still a mixed bag with Joe. I'm not ready to kick him to the curb. When things go well, they go really well. But when they go bad, man, do they ever. There's this really, it's like, what's the best way to explain it? I mean, it's sporadic, maybe. He kind of has, like, no offense here. You know, this isn't the PC thing to say, but his play calling is like Tourette's-like. Sometimes just going along smoothly makes perfect sense, and he'll just do something random out of the blue, and you're just kind of staring at it like, well, why? What will we do that for? Whether it's some inexplicable end around, some sort of trick play, a quarterback sneak on fourth and what was either a very long 1 or 2 yards. Yo, Joe, we got to get it together, man. The other thing that bugged the hell out of me was the conservative play at the beginning and the end of the game. Now, this is also something that boggles the mind. He seems to be conservative, or was conservative, in every area of the field, with the exception of inside the 5-yard line, where he just would not run the ball. And at that point, it hadn't been established that the running game wasn't really going to work, but you gotta at least threaten it a little bit, make them respect it. It's just, I mean, thankfully it worked out, kind of, sort of. But we got to get some balance in there, Joe. Just seems like he has a play call sheet and there's really no order to it. He's just picking random joints off of there and like calling it down. So hopefully we get that together as the season goes along. Game 1, I'm going to shoot you some bail, bro. It's kind of preseason for everybody in this regard because, again, guys on the field didn't really play any preseason snaps. So give you a pass for that too. So not granting you that much grace moving forward, but this week you're okay. I'm gonna let it slide. So moving along, I guess the game plan was to let Devontae Adams get his, but not have anyone else at all make plays, which still happened here and there, but primarily it was all the Tay show, which y'all know coming into this game, my biggest thing was to limit him as much as possible. Bracket him if you wanted to go the Revis route, and well, it wasn't really going to work because JC didn't play, so that strategy is out the window. But I didn't expect them to try to play a lot of one-on-one with him or have any particular corner defending primarily, but ASJ drew him more often than not with largely negative results to begin with. But he was cooking ASJ and Vato on the snaps that Vato got on him too, so he was equal opportunity baking people. And I mean, what else do you expect? It's arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL. So I mean, like I said before, he was gonna get his. I thought they were going to be able to do their best to contain him, but it didn't seem like that was the game plan. It was like, let him go off and make sure that no one else really does. So enough of that. It's I'm always going to shoot y'all straight. I have to be the realist that I am, so we're not going to ignore the bad, but let's move on to the good, man. And when we're talking good, who else could we possibly be starting off with other than 10? Jay Herbo, the Prince. 10 is like that. Y'all don't need me to tell you that. You got your own eyes. You see the crap this dude does. I mean, some of these throws were ridiculous. Outside of the fact that he avoided pressure all day, I feel like he had tremendous feel in the pocket for the pressure, was able to navigate around it and make plays regardless. Multiple ridiculous throws. But my favorite was that stellar 42-yarder to Keenan in the second quarter on first down. It was like over Jayon Brown and Rock Yassin, but in the void between Yassin and Trevon Moorick. Beautiful. Wow. We see every game like 2 or 3 of these. It's to the point now where, I'm not saying that you should expect it, but we know it's probably coming, and it's still amazing every time regardless. Never gets old. I cannot stress or keep discussing and ad nauseum how fortunate we are to transition from Phil to this kid. Sheer luck, by the way, for us as Chargers fans, as we feel we're like one of the most snake-bitten franchises of all time. When it comes to QBs, we have been very fortunate in that regard. So, just watching this dude cook every week, it's one of the reasons why you're excited to watch this team play. One of the primary reasons. So, I don't know what else there is to say about him. It's just just continues to evolve and show why, you know, you can say what you want about Joe Burrow. And Joe didn't have like the greatest day. And I'm going to say this again. The dude must have like God on speed dial, because who has, what was it, 5 turnovers and still comes with, still only loses a game in overtime by a field goal. I don't even know how that's possible. Well, I do know Steelers offense blows. But when it comes to just the guy, you can talk all you want about the swag, because maybe he might not even have that anymore. Might have gone with the appendix when they took that out, because nothing I saw looked swaggy about those picks he was throwing and the fumbles. But give me Herbert over him 10 times out of 10. And y'all know how I feel about Joe Burrow being a Louisiana guy. It doesn't matter. I'm taking Herbert every single time. It's just really no comparison to me, because you can have all the swag you want, but give me that dude with that howitzer on his arm, 6'6", 250-ish. I'm gonna roll with that every time, every single time actually. Also, his ball distribution was fantastic. Passes completed to 9 different receivers. So after Slay went out, the ball was still making its rounds. He wasn't locking into anyone in particular. If you're open, you're getting it. The fact that Xander Horvath, a.k.a. Xander Bloodbath, caught the first touchdown, nobody had that on their bingo cards. He just navigating the field like a pro. And year 3, this is the one where he steps up. And for everyone who hated on it for the last 2 years, you're just going to have to get over yourselves. Talk about the no having any playoff appearances thing. That's going to end this year. You're going to have to come up with something new. And they probably will. But once it gets to the point of this man with the championship ring, you're going to have to really, really reach. Really reach. I'm talking like Mr. Fantastic Stretch Armstrong, Dalsim style, to find something to complain about. Because at that point, you're just clearly a hater, and I don't know what else to say to you about it. Another guy stepped up big. It's the DeAndre Carter, who is proving he's more than just a return specialist, and he was doing that already in offseason during camp. I always felt like he just was in a crappy situation in Washington. I mean, look at the quarterbacks he dealt with, and you come into a wide receiver room with some really good complementary players, and you're leaned on to be like the 4th wide receiver or 5th. Your job's cake. You're not going to have a lot of attention. And if you are a decent receiver, got some athleticism, you can probably make some plays. And, he made the most of his opportunities when he got in after Slay went out. Something that is tremendous to see. And I just want to see him continue to develop in that regard. We're even going to give him a pass for that gumpish decision that he made on that fair catch on his, maybe it was that first return opportunity. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'll let that go, because you stepped up as a receiver, you put points on the board, and you came up as a dependable guy when Herbert was looking for you. So that's all I can ask for. Work on that return stuff, though, because I'm going to need it. Pass rush. The K&J sack factory combined for 4.5. And petty moment, you know who had 0 combined sacks? Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. 0. None. At all. Whatsoever. Man, what the hell were y'all talking to me about those two being the best pass rushing tandem potentially in the NFL? Look, let me stop y'all with this foolishness now. Max Crosby is a very good player, okay? But I'm sorry. You're not going to get a tip of the cap from me for being a guy who makes his living mostly getting pressures. I mean, yes, pressures are important. Are sacks the most important thing? No, you want to have a nice combination of both. But again, the almost thing is what comes to mind to me when I think of Max Crosby, respectfully. And Chandler Jones. Now, hey, he gave Slater some fits here and there. But y'all know that whole narrative y'all were pushing? I mean, I assume there are probably some Raiders fans tuning into this because I don't know, y'all like to torture yourselves. But the whole thing about Khalil Mack being washed, y'all's guy might be the person you need to look into. Because I didn't see a whole lot. Few nice rushes here and there, like I said. I mean, he respectfully, his career has been fantastic. Stellar player. He's on the back end of it. And there's a dude who's a little bit younger than him on the other side of the ball Sunday wearing powder blue that looked every bit of 20-something to me. We'll get to that shortly, though. Best of luck with y'all rest of the season with that. I hope, he plays really well, him and Max, and y'all have something to gloat about. Just won't be against us, but, best of luck to you. So like I said before, Mr. Mack, washed. If you mean he was putting the Raiders tackles in spin cycles all game long, then you're correct. He, in fact, would be washing your O-lineman, no doubt. Come on, man. 3 sacks and almost had 4. But that's not the only place he makes his presence felt. Like, in the run game, setting a solid edge, condensing the line down. Like, when I'm talking about reducing down the line of scrimmage, you see anything that was outside zone or power to his side, he was flushing it down the line of scrimmage and turning it back into help. Even if he wasn't making the play, he was setting up his teammates to make plays. Difference maker. You know what's really weird? Khalil was going off so much that you almost didn't even think about Joey. The fact that we have Joey Bosa on the other side of that, and he was an afterthought. He had a sack and a half. And, I mean, just imagine when both of them are hitting on all cylinders. It's coming. So, just, again, when it comes to Khalil Mack, it's going to all be about health. But that looks like a dude with something to prove. And, let's talk about that unstoppable bull rush club move he has. You're screwed if he can get leverage on you. If he can bull you and get you on your heels, he sets it up perfectly, because what he'll do is he'll push you back to the point to where you start to anchor, and then he'll use that leverage against you to literally club you to the side with the opposite arm, and then good luck to your quarterback. It's magnificent. We get to watch this for the remainder of the season, and I hope for another few years at least. But man, oh man, what an introduction. I feel sorry for the rest of the AFC West, because Patty, you're going to have a long night on Thursday, bro. I'll get to my feelings on that game later on. Next up, we're going to talk about Zont's revenge. I mentioned this a little while ago. He had a rough start to the game against Devontae, but I tell you what, he fought back. And that's all you can ask for in a DB. Just have a short memory. And again, dude, we give you credit. We see who you were defending. The pick near the beginning of the fourth on that underthrown. Carr thought he was Justin Herbert for a second. He tried to do his best Justin Herbert impression, but just not quite. It's not enough of that going on for you, buddy. Less mascara, maybe more shoulder exercises, bicep curls, stuff like that. I don't know, whatever helps. But with that play, Zont peels off his man to go not only steal the ball from Devontae Adams, but Bryce Callahan too, because it looks like Bryce had his eyes on that, and Zont just kind of flew out of nowhere, kamikaze style, and snatched that bad boy up. But the reason why Adams was even that wide open, I don't know if you guys want to run that play back and check it out. Callahan was communicating. I don't remember who the corner was. It might have been Zant to that side. Looks like he was trying to, either pass off some information or get it, and the ball was snapped, and his head was turned. So Adams had like a good 2 to 3 steps on him before he realized that the play started. So then he was playing catch up, and then Carr just, card it. But not our problem. And speaking of Bryce Callahan, somebody might want to call Liam Neeson to see if he can use his special set of skills to locate Hunter Renfrow. Bryce had him locked behind the gates of hell practically all game long. And then there was that pick in the fourth, which is really nice, which was created by some pressure. I think that pressure was established by one Khalil Mack again, just all over the field all night long. Just making it happen. So Bryce Callahan is already proven to be paying dividends as a late offseason pickup. And man, just the prospects of JC coming back, and he and Zant and Derwin. We know what Derwin does with his sack all over the field, moving around, being Weapon X, Mr. Apex Predator. I don't have to go in on Derwin. Y'all know how I feel about him. All of us, our love and affection for that man. Just does everything that needs to be done, even down to in the clutch being the guy tasked with defending Devontae Adams to make sure that if they were going to beat us, it wasn't going to be because of him. And that says a lot. I mean, when you're technically labeled a safety, ain't too many dudes with that tag that are going to get the trust of a coaching staff to defend arguably one of the best or the best wide receiver in the NFL. So it says a lot. The run defense, it's pretty much a new day. 64 yards on the day. A majority of those yards came on a couple chunk runs in like the second half. You want to not only, like I said before, credit Sebastian Joseph Day and Austin Johnson for that, but Khalil Mack as well. He makes a difference in both the run and passing game. So just keeps popping up. And to put a bow on this, because I don't want to keep you guys too long. Great Scott. JK, what the hell, man? Do we have a weapon as a punter? Last time we've been able to say that. Mike Seyfried, also Destran, my hometown. Kid might be a weapon. First punt was downed at the 2-yard line, and we've seen it. Again, not the most politically correct thing. Kids, earmuffs, if you're listening. I think I'm going to call him the mule. The hang time is nuts. But that's everything I got on the game, man. Pardon me. Mineral water. Was my chest tight for the last hour of the game? Sure. Because that's the Charger way. Especially in division games. Kind of how it has to be, I guess. But they came up with the W. That's all that matters. No choking. They didn't charger it. And we're 1-0 in the division. And right now we have the division lead. How's that feel? Start off the year. So moving on to Thursday. KC. Arrowhead. Thursday Night Football. You boys going to be there. And I'll be attending with some buddies of mine. You'll see who it is soon enough. And I'm looking forward to a great game. I would love it if J.C. Jackson were able to play. Feel a whole lot better about it. Because as we saw last week, Kermie was dealing 5 TDs and looks like he's distributing the ball well. The whole Tyreek Hill thing might be a little overblown. I'm sure it'll affect them in certain situations. But as of right now, Arizona was a little bit of a train wreck too, so I don't know how much you can take from that. But I'm seeing a few things defensively from the Chiefs that look a little bit better, look a little stronger at the second and third levels. Got some newer guys on the back end and look a little bit more disciplined. But again, like I said before, Arizona didn't look great. They were missing pieces, so I don't know how much you can glean from that. But this is what I'll tell you. I feel like the running game has to find its way this week, especially if Keenan isn't going to play. You know that Joe Lombardi's going to want to dial up some deep shots. Problem is, more often than not, those come off of play action. And if you're going into Thursday night and you're going to average less than 3 yards a carry again, ain't going to be no haps with that, man. You know, you're going to have to get it together on the O-line, get some push up front, and get some serious yardage on the ground. Like, beat that Chiefs front up as much as you can. You got to find a way to neutralize Mr. Jones in the middle and just plug away at him, man. I don't want this to turn into a shootout. I know that's what a lot of people are expecting. They just want to see Herbert and Mahomes sling it. I would rather Herbert throw for less than I'd rather him have less than 30 attempts, should I say. Just, you can go for 250. If he gets to 300 yards passing, great, not that big of a deal. I'd much rather see him be super efficient this game and have the running game play a bigger part, helping to keep Mahomes off the field, keeping the defense fresh, and putting them behind the sticks and down the distance and letting the dogs off the edge eat. Making it a long day for Mahomes, because you know what happens. You get to him a little bit, he gets a little antsy. He'll start feeling the pressure of needing to kind of force some things, and you might be able to get your hands on some balls. And Mr. INT, if you're playing, I'm talking to you, because that could turn into a multiple pick situation out the gate for you. I'm also kind of like 50-50 coin flip on whether or not JC's going to play. I'd feel differently had the Chargers lost to the Raiders. Then they might force him into game 2. You can't risk going down 0-2 in the division and start the season off. That's a nice little hole I have to climb out of. So he could go, just like he may not. Definitely want to see it. So here's to hoping that JC straps it up and makes it on the field here Thursday, because it's going to be dope to see live if it is. If not, curious to see what the game plan is. I would love to have Derwin freed up as much as possible and not have to stick him on Travis Kelce. But then if JC's not playing, then, you can't really move Derwin around and you have to put him more so on Travis, then, that's eliminating one weapon. Hopefully the secondary can manage against the rest of KC's wide receivers. But in the event that JC does play, you can pretty much do whatever you want with Derwin and try to stick Vato on Kelce, who he's had some success with in the past. But we do know who Travis' daddy is. Who's your daddy, Travis? Who's your daddy? That's right. It's DJ. And Trav doesn't want to have to see Derwin at all. He would much rather Vato. But if Travis starts making a little noise, you know who's coming. Papa. He's wielding a big stick. He's coming to beat that arse. Yeah, buddy. Oh, speaking of arses, Drew Tranquil, I forgot to mention you. Joe Lombardi, you at least owe that man a steak dinner or something, because he saved your arse after that gumpish 4th and 2 QB sneak call. Drew gets a pick, kind of sags. It looked like it was cover 2. Sags off into the middle of the field, right in between the void of the 2 safeties, and makes a pick like the former safety he is. Right before the half, because it could have got really weird had the Raiders put points on the board then. So, yeah, Joe, you might want to holla, send that man an Amazon gift card, something. I don't know. Hell, whatever. Do something nice for him. You owe him. But besides all that, people, I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you for listening to me ramble. And y'all know what it is. It's your guy. I will holla at y'all next week. Here's looking at KC. Should be fun. Hopefully we come away with a dub and I can come on here and make some Pat Mahomes jokes. Because nothing would make me happier. But y'all know what it is again. Until next time. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the week. And I'll be back soon with another CI2TG. No matter what, I say this all the time. You don't have to take my word for anything. I have my own thoughts and opinions based off of facts that I gather, things that I view with my own two eyes. I suggest you do the same, man. But if you don't agree, per usual, man, just charge it to the game. Catch y'all later. I'm gone.